Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as a successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board for Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. This is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betts.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Present.
Councilmember Pai.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Nunez.
Present.
Mayor Menace.
Present.
Thank you.
I'm going to make my way down to the podium real quick. So I didn't get a chance to make your 64th church anniversary and the dedication of the new building that you guys have purchased to have your church in, which is close to my heart because I attended the Lutheran church for many years in that location, and now you've taken that location. You guys came to the Lily of the Valley, came to Desert Hot Springs 7 years ago. Was it right? Yeah. 7? Let's say 6 and 7. 7 years ago, and you guys were working just down the street here for a long time until recently you were able to purchase that other building and move in there. And so with that, I just wanted to recognize what you guys were doing that day. I know Councilmember Pai attended. Thank you so much. Did anyone else attend from the council? Okay. And so I just want to say congratulations on the new facility dedication and your 64th anniversary for your church.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And then I'm going to have him stand on this side because he's going to give the invocation tonight, and you may say a few words about your church if you like.
I'm going to do the invocation, but I will say thank you to City Council and to all of the officials that have actually welcomed us to the Desert Hot Springs area, and it has been such a joy to be a part of this community, and I want to continue to be a part of the community and do whatever we can do from our area of life to be able to make this community the greatest community in the Coachella Valley. Is that all right? Is that all right?
What time's service?
Service is 10:15 on Sunday mornings, and some of you may have seen other African American churches that are there for a length of time, but we're only there an hour and a half. Okay, so a service for about an hour and a half, but you're going to enjoy it. Bring your earplugs because we're a little loud, but you will enjoy it, and the atmosphere is a very welcoming atmosphere. So please come at any time at 10:15 Sunday morning. Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraints. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your Creator deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confidence in your goodness and love. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you once again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Pastor. That was Jan's reason to keep you around, but I did it at the beginning, so now you don't have to wait through everything else.
Thank you.
With that, if we can have everyone stand, Ms. Pai, would you lead us in a pledge tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Attorney, would you report on closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We do not have any reportable action.
Thank you. The approval agenda will also be approving the consent calendars. Anyone that would like to pull any items from the consent calendar, number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17?
I move approval of the agenda.
I'll second.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on the consent calendar? See nobody coming forth. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to public comments at this time pursuant to the Brown Act. Any persons may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the City Council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment portion of the agenda that are not listed on the agenda. Speakers may not yield their time to others without consent of the mayor. All comments are to be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain professional, courteous decorum during public comments. So far, I have one. Emery Lesko? Yeah, you were the first one to get it in.
City Council, staff, police chief, everybody's here. I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. First thing is Hot Springs Park.
Mr. Emery, the Hot Springs Park is actually an item on the agenda tonight. It's item number 9. You'll have to speak on that during that item.
Oh, okay, okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to say in public comments that are not on the agenda?
Yeah, the other day, a 4-year-old was walking across Palm Drive with nothing but a t-shirt and a diaper. And so I called the police department real fast. I'm like, oh crap, he almost got hit by 3 cars. I bring him in, take him into the thing. He said he's hungry. We make him a burger, get him some food, wrap him in a bunch of towels, and it's like, okay. So I call the police department and they show up and the police officer said, I'm giving him back to his mom. I go, what are you thinking? You need to take this kid and take care of him, because the waitresses, had to change his diaper. He had diaper rash all the way down his legs. It was a mess. And I didn't know why that happened. And I still don't know why it happened. But anyway, thought I'd let you guys know.
Thank you very much. Well, when that item comes up for the Hot Springs Park, you can just come up and make comments, and we'll open up to public comments during that time. Tom Owen.
I'm glad to be here again. Probably already know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Pearson Boulevard and State Highway 62. I understand fully and completely that the Caltrans has jurisdiction over that intersection, but there are some things that the city can do about that intersection that are not in Caltrans jurisdiction. Number one, we can put up some beautiful signage advertising our beautiful natural hot water, our award-winning cold drinking water. Do you remember that? The best tasting tap water in the whole wide world? I still think that's my main drink. And the city can also erect that nice 30-foot statue of Cabot Yerxa with his mule, Merry Christmas, behind him. And if that's 30 foot high or 40 foot high, that will make an impact on that intersection and will draw people into town. If you use your GPS, that's the intersection. My GPS, everyone I know, brings them in on Pearson Boulevard. That would bring them exclusively to Desert Hot Springs. If they're going to Joshua Tree National Park or somewhere else, they can see that beautiful statue, they can see that beautiful signage, and Pa can say to Ma, Desert Hot Springs, let's go there. We have a lot of nice restaurants. We have some of the best restaurants in the whole Coachella Valley. And I'm talking about a lot of them. And they're not a bunch of chain restaurants either. They're good mom and pop restaurants. And I like to promote mom and pop business in our town. That's very important. More people are employed by mom and pop businesses than by anyone else in the whole United States. And we can make a difference. And let's not worry about jurisdiction here, jurisdiction there. Yes, we have to have that under control, but just because the stoplight or the intersection is controlled by Caltrans, they don't own all the property. There's private property owners at that intersection, and something can be done. Something can be encouraged. And I've lived in Desert Hot Springs. Didn't say it at the start. I've lived here for 44 years. And I love Desert Hot Springs. I was on the committee that helped start our police department. I'm proud of our police department. I was on the Palm Drive committee and helped with that years ago. I'm a charter member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church here in town. My wife Dolly and I are original charter members. We've been members there longer than anyone else, although we're not older than everyone, but it feels like I am. And my hat's off to the City Council. I didn't even put it on tonight because I am so proud of your diligent work and the things that can be done. And I am so glad that our City Council does not depend on city staff for everything. All 5 of you take part in the running of our city and are effective tools and represent your constituents well. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Tom. Kurt Hanshaw?
For number 9, Your Honor.
Okay. Paul, and I'm probably not going to say your last name right.
Scopelitis.
Scopelitis. Thank you very much.
Hello. I first wanted to mention this right turn only lane at Pearson isn't going to work out. I live on 2nd Street, and to try to come up, you can't get into the go straight lane because the people trying to make a left turn have used it all up, and now they're into the lane. When you do get to go through the people in the right lane, I have to turn right onto 2nd Street because I live in the apartments there. They're just running straight, and you try to change lanes, they're like already in your blind spot. You think you're going to pull forward and then, make a right lane to make the right turn, and they're coming through to kill you. So I wanted to mention that. And the other thing is I'm handicapped. I've got cancer and a bag and the whole bit, and I can never get a handicapped parking place in town. One thing I wanted to mention is I try to go to the Angel View thrift store, and there's always the same 2 cars in the Angel View's handicapped parkings, So I asked them, and the management lady said, well, that's my car, and the other one belongs to her. So I was kind of had a question. Are the handicap spots for the people that work there to use them, or is it for the people to frequent the stores?
We can't have it back and forth. This is your time, so, but we can take those notes and.
Okay, and that's basically it. I also wanted to talk about the water park, but I guess that's coming later?
Yep, absolutely. And I think there'll be some updates from our public works on that lane here, so in a few minutes.
Yeah, first time I've ever done this, but I just...
No worries, you're great.
I would really like to be able to get a
You did a
handicap
really
parking
good job.
spot without getting beat up by somebody who tells me to shut up and get out of here. It'd be kind of nice to see them get a ticket.
We have the police chief standing right there with you. There you go. Anyone else in the audience have no more speaker cards, would like to speak in public comments on items not on the agenda? See nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments this time. We'll move to city manager's report.
All right, today we will start with Nick Haker to give an update on Public Works.
Good evening. I have updates on 2 projects.
It's the chief's fault. The chief took them out.
Nick, I'd really like him to hear that. Can we actually start with Jeffrey first?
Yep, no
I'm
problem.
sorry about that. Jeffrey Buckheim for financial updates, and I'll go grab him so he hears your update.
Police chief's always trying to steal the show, Jeffrey, Nick. Not the fire chief. The fire chief sits there very quietly all the time.
So nice and quiet. We hardly ever notice he's there. Oh, Mike. Hey.
Oh, wait, shh, the deputy chief's still here, so he's going to tell him next.
Good evening. So for fiscal year 22-23, revenues are over $16.1 million, which is 48% of the budget. Expenditures are at over 18.9 million, which is 56% of the budget. As this is mid-month, we are not comparing them years yet, but I have a chart of the some of the major revenue sources and where they are as a percentage of their budget. And that is my report.
Now we'll go to Nick Haker for Public Works updates.
So I do have two updates. The first one's going to be for Palm Drive North. This is about those signs that are south of Pearson. All signs for the right turn lane, or the right turn, must turn right, south of Pearson have been covered. You can see them here in the pictures. The traffic engineer is redesigning the lane merger. Further up Palm Drive, the number 2 lane will merge into the number 1 lane around 3rd Street, allowing for a smoother transition. The contractor is scheduled to install the striping for the median at 8th Street on March 30th, weather permitting. The striping of Palm Drive North project is scheduled for the week of April 3rd. The contractor will be putting 2 coats of paint and reflective glass beads, including the locations that they've already striped. The contractor will also be installing the green bike lanes, all legends, crosswalks, and raised pavement markers to help identify lanes. The changeable message signs, construction of the changeable message signs on Palm Drive has recommenced. The changeable message signs is located north of Varner Road. This will allow drivers enough time to take alternate routes if North Geometry Trail is closed. That's my report.
Thank you, Nick. And finally to Roberta Cernick, our Recreation and Community Services Director, with some recreation updates.
Thank you. A couple programs that we're starting. So we're going to be starting yoga for kids, and that'll be starting on Friday, April 21st at the Health and Wellness Center. The classes will be held every Friday at 5 o'clock for kids ages 7 to 18, and the cost is $8 per class or $20 per month. And then we're going to be offering a 6-week Minecraft coding class, and that also will be starting on April 21st, and the classes will be held on Fridays from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, and the cost is $50 for the 6-week session. And Little League opening day is this Saturday, March 25th at noon, and that's at Boardman Park, and we're going to have our first game will be starting at 2 p.m. And finally, yesterday, the kids at the Recreation Center played against city staff, police, and fire, and I have to say it was a really great game. This is the first year that staff has won against the kids. And then the next slide has my favorite shot of the night, which is Chief Beverlin in midair there. So I wanted to thank staff and fire and the police for being such great sports. The kids had a lot of fun, and we look forward to doing this again next year. Thank you.
You didn't get that shot of Mayor Pro Tem Nunez dunking the ball, though. Didn't happen? What?
I couldn't reach it.
Awesome. Thank you all for participating in that with the kids.
That concludes my reports.
We'll move to the mayor and council member comments. We'll start down with Mr. Betts and move this way this time.
I just want to note you didn't get a picture of me in midair either.
No.
I haven't done midair in a while. So this seemed to be the week for residents contacting me because of vacation rental issues. And I think there must be some large event coming up, maybe the tennis. And then we're now getting into all the other events that are coming up. I got a letter from one of the residents. It says, Dear Councilor Betts, can you please present my concerns to the mayor and your fellow council members at tonight's city council meeting, as I'm unable to attend. And I can't read all of this because it's way too long, but I can hit a couple of the highlights and then see if we can get this taken up somewhere. It says that the vacation rentals that were within 300 feet of their home have not complied with the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code 5.44.080, as the homes have not received any notice. And they've gone and looked at the municipal code and said a copy of the vacation rental permit shall be mailed or delivered to all property owners shown on the last equalized county assessment roll, and all occupants of each dwelling within 300 feet of a vacation rental unit. Such information shall be provided at least annually and within 14 days of any change of information as required pursuant to this chapter. And then they go on to talk about 2 of the vacation rentals near them. are continually in violation of another section. And it said that this is regarding vehicles parked in front of, at the vacation rental, that they're parking in front of their homes, blocking the mailboxes, and crowding the streets. And then they again cite the code, says the owner or agent shall limit the number of vehicles of overnight occupants at amount not to exceed the number of designated on-site parking spaces. I love it when residents get such a careful read into our ordinances. This is, very good. Usually we have to go ask city staff to give us a refresher on this. Then there was something, I think what we passed, that there'd be no outdoor music, radios, musical instruments. Somebody called and said, is karaoke allowed? And so apparently one of the vacation rentals was doing karaoke late into the night. And that, anyhow, I won't go on too much more of this, but they're basically saying that there's several things that we passed that were to provide some relief to neighbors of these vacation rentals, and we don't seem to have gotten it taken care of. Trash bins not being brought in, and they asked what's going on with this company we hired that's supposed to provide the enforcement. I actually got that answer from staff. They're looking at me like, Russ, we already talked about this today. But I'll maybe let you guys answer that. But they're just concerned, and I think rightly so, because we're coming up to the time when we've got Stagecoach, Coachella, and who knows what else going on at this time. And these things are going to be busy and noisy. And so I don't know if this is the right time to ask staff where we are with this. Can you give me a brief answer or reply to this for the public?
So briefly, I can say I would really love to have some more information and context to that particular letter and complaint and the addresses. Generally speaking, Christina can speak to this a little bit more, but more often than not, we're actually not registering a significant amount of short-term vacation rental complaints through our programs. And so we have had a complaint reference, one complaint recently referenced parking in the surrounding areas, which was addressed. That was not this weekend, that was the previous weekend. But we have had no complaints that we're aware of karaoke or anything, so I'd love to have some more information of that. Now, with respect to the short-term vacation rental company, we did terminate their initial contract for cause, but we immediately had a contract or company that we work with provide us with 2 additional code enforcement officers to continue that enforcement. So there was absolutely no lapse in coverage.
And just to be fair, we probably shouldn't go on very much longer because this becomes an item, because none of us get a chance to respond to it without making an item, and the city attorney's going to start throwing stuff at us. So
Yeah, I agree.
what we can do, though, is put this on the next agenda for an update.
We actually are planning on bringing forward the comprehensive update to you all in the end of April, as was designated per the previous ordinance.
Fair enough.
All right, and I guess, just without getting into an agenda item on this one, the complaint is that they can't get through on the quote hotline. Isn't a hotline. They don't know it starts at 7. You call through, and it's not ringing through to anybody that's even familiar with the vacation rental situation. It's going right to dispatch. The dispatch is sounding surprised, like, what's your emergency? And we say, well, I don't know, I'm trying to get a vacation rental. It's not an emergency. And they say, well, why is it ringing to us? So there's something's just not working. The point I want to make is something's not working. And I appreciate that we had this on to come to April, but what's the dates of Stagecoach and Coachella? And we've got these events coming up, and so we're going to let all this disruption happen. We know it's going to happen, so I think something needs to be done sooner than later, and I just asked staff to do that, and I'll move on with the rest of my comments. Met with the Desert Edge community. I asked Councilmember Nunez to join me. That was a good meeting. They've taken note of the city, has made a lot of progress, and we'll see what we can do to foster that relationship further. I think we were talking about putting something together for some kind of a meeting, and you had a great idea at that session, so I was glad you joined us. And I don't know if you're planning to mention anything further in your comments on it, but if you elaborate on this, great. I'm just saying that it's really nice to see that community that at one time didn't want anything to do with us is now reaching out because of the progress we made. And one of the things they pointed out was the very excellent work by our police department. They just emphasize that every time I talk to them. So anyhow, we'll let that one develop and foster and see what happens. Went to a league division meeting at Cathedral City. It's the League of California Cities, or they now call themselves Cal Cities. And was there with Gary, Councilmember Gardner. And it was nice. I happened to sit down at the table with Cathedral City, and I was right next to their finance director, and I glanced across this beautiful facility, and there was a restroom. And I asked him, how much does that restroom cost? And all of a sudden, all the council members are going, don't ask. And he said, $120,000. I said, wow, beautiful restroom for $120,000. I couldn't believe it. Anyhow, when they saw that I thought that was a good price, they all perked up and said, oh, good, well, at least we didn't spend $724. Okay, moving on. I'm meeting attended Airport Land Use Commission, had a quiet meeting. Attend Sunline meeting tomorrow. And the last thing I want to say is, wow, I don't know what's happening with losing people in this community. First Judy Shea, and now Kurt St. Amant. I just knew him as Kurt. I hope I got to pronounce his name right. He's just a great volunteer at the Friends of the Desert Library. Another one of these people that every time you see them, you say, is this person ever, in a bad mood? Does this person never, ever have a bad thing to say about somebody? Just a great guy. And sure going to miss him in our community. And I don't know, this has got to stop. We just got to, say we got everybody stick around here for a while longer. This is tough to go through some of this. I lost a good friend from high school over the weekend as well. So, anyway, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Following up on my colleague, Mr. Betts, was very sad to hear of the sudden passing of a wonderful DHS resident, Kurt St. Amant. You did pronounce it correctly. He was very active in Rotary, as well as the Historical Society and the Friends of the Library. Kurt shared my love for the desert, and he was great. He knew every plant, every animal, and especially every bird. And we loved hiking out on our trails here. And in many ways, I looked at Kurt as sort of our local John Muir. He'll be greatly missed. There will be a celebration of life this Thursday, 5 o'clock, at the DHS library for Kurt. Wanted to thank our code compliance staff for working with me and the residents of the Hot Springs Rancho neighborhood to abate a derelict mobile home there and an abandoned house taken over by squatters on Desert View Avenue around the corner from me in the central part of the city. Residents in that neighborhood, both neighborhoods, very appreciative of the swift action taken and asked me to pass along their appreciation, which I'm doing. So great job with that, Christina, and your department. Had the opportunity to have a breakfast with Congressman Ruiz and his new chief of staff last week, and they were asking about some of the priorities for Desert Hot Springs, and I said, I know we'll be sending a delegation to D.C. later this year, but just to round off a couple of them, I mentioned infrastructure improvements to get across the washes on rainy and windy days, getting the park headquarters for Sand Snow National Monument in Desert Hot Springs, and fixing the federal banking regulations that inhibit access to banking by our legal cannabis businesses, which I'm hoping they'll all be able to take some action on those back on the other coast. Speaking of infrastructure stuff, I appreciate the update, Nick, on the changeable message signs. Do you have any kind of a timeline? Councilmember Middleton and I worked on that going on now 5 years ago. I know government stuff moves kind of slow sometimes, but do we know when? We still got a little bit of a rainy season, windy season left.
Yeah, they were actually, if they weren't out there on Monday, they couldn't be out there today, but they are back on it this week, the one on Pond.
So we estimated ETA?
I wouldn't be able to give you that right now.
Okay.
It's all off of parts and everything that they have to get everything in order.
Got it. Thank you. Had a real fun opportunity to be part of a European travel show that was in town highlighting cannabis tourism in Desert Hot Springs last week, and we visited and filmed part of the show. Think of sort of a Rick Steves, but for a European audience based on a European channel over there. And we visited cultivators and dispensaries as well as a couple of our wonderful spas. It'll air in France, Germany, and Spain later this fall. Always fun to show off what's wonderful about Desert Hot Springs and encourage more tourism. And lastly, for your calendars, the Desert Hot Springs Historical Society's April Soup Supper is going to be Wednesday, April 19th, and it's going to be at the VFW post this time around. Our speaker will be Anna Miller, who will present a fun-filled talk about the history of this Old West Dude Ranch, which dates from the 1920s and hosted many a Hollywood celebrity in its day, and will actually be at the original ranch house where it all happened, which is now the Joseph Stone Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 1534. A couple of miles outside of the city, off of Dillon. Anna's lived at B-Bar 8 since 2007. She was also instrumental in producing a documentary about the ranch, which will be shown as well. $25 for members, $30 for non-members. You can get tickets at the Desert Hot Springs Historical Society's webpage. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nick, the only thing I had for Nick, so I know this came kind of abruptly with some of the residents and how they have to turn right at Pearson. Is there something that we can do temporarily, like a digital sign, to just warn people? Because I guess they're not ready for it, they're not prepared for it. A lot of people are complaining. I hear it too, that they're complaining that they have to turn right away. So
We actually, we covered the signs as
so
of
like
today.
a digital sign saying like, hey, you're gonna have to, eventually you're gonna have to merge, over before.
Roger, we've all been ignoring it.
Not me, Russ, not me.
I'm sorry, may I chime in? So what I think Nick was saying earlier, I know there was a lot going on during the updates, is that basically staff has gone back and looked at the project. So there is going to be no requirement to merge at Pearson any longer. The project is in the process of just being not completely redesigned, but shifted. So merging will occur up at 3rd Street now past Pearson. So it will not affect that intersection.
Perfect. And then the other thing, Mr. Mayor, I just want to bring some acknowledgements. On March 12th, we did have the celebration for Mexica New Year, which was the Aztec New Year. So I just want to give my brothers and sisters out there Happy New Year. The 31st of March, the end of this month, is Cesar Chavez's birthday. So I'm hoping that maybe later in the future we can do maybe a community cleanup day for Cesar Chavez in honor of him for his birthday. It's National Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month, so I have some family members that wanted to make sure that we recognize that for the month. And then also it's Music in Our School Month. So I know a lot of the schools locally are doing a lot more stuff with music, so this is the time to do it. Also this Saturday for our residents, if we have the high school cleanup at the high school, is that correct?
Yes.
So inviting all the residents to show up if they want to help clean up the high school. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Pye?
Okay, there will be a new Palm Springs International Airport logo, and it will be displayed at the Palm Springs City Council meeting on April 10th, and that's all I can tell you about it. It is also Women's History Month, and I want to give kudos to Desert Springs Middle School. They've started a drone program, and I'm trying to read here. Well, they started a drone program. Susan Drummond, the principal of the school, should be recognized, as well as Will Carr, Palm Springs Unified School District Director of Education and Technology. And it's the first for Palm Springs Unified District that is national so far as schools are concerned with drones. Now we get to the woman. It's a young girl. She's an 8th grader, Vivian Sanchez of Desert Hot Springs. And she didn't know what she really wanted to do. And she wants to be a flight commander or astronaut. Before I worked with drones, I didn't really know what I wanted to be. This really inspired me. To be the first in America to do this is even more amazing, she added. It's history in the making. Sanchez is one of just a couple of girls on her school inaugural drone soccer team. She plans to remain a trailblazer in the wide world of aerospace engineering. The field is male dominated, and I feel inspired to work harder to inspire women to do this. I'm done.
Thank you. Lots going on, lots of celebrations. I went to my very first Persian New Year celebration. I was invited to a party since everybody was talking about different events. I know I'm going to ruin the saying, but it's called Norwuz, Nowruz, and it's the Persian New Year, which they celebrate at the beginning of spring. And so it was really nice to meet. It was a couple developers that are from our city, and they were invited me to help celebrate with them, and there was about 100 other people there, but it was fun. Yes, as Mr. Nunez said, our Mayor Pro Tem, there will be a cleanup this Saturday, continuing with our committee at the high school. We'll meet at 8 a.m., we'll say a few words, and we have multiple volunteers. Hopefully kids will come out. It's part of our cleanup program, and they'll be in the school giving presentations to the kids on how to recycle your recyclables, but also your new organic waste. And if anybody needs an organic waste bucket, there's one back there on the table, free of charge. We talked about the right turn lane. I was also able to attend, I think, Councilmember Pye, Councilmember Betts, and I think I saw you walking in when I was leaving the Dr. Carry-On event the other night. Danny Porras, who's our Deputy City Manager, sits on the advisory board. Is that right, or the board? The board of directors. And we've been very fortunate to donate to the organization for kids in need that need to help finance their way through college. They gave plaques to different cities and organizations, and I had Danny take the plaque back here to City Hall. We'll hang it somewhere nice, but it was really nice, a nice event, and thanks for having us again. I was also able to speak at the Spa Pelletiers earlier this month. Each year, the Spa Pelletiers is a local organization that does art in our community. Lots of paintings and other types of art, and they have an event each year at the Miracle Springs that actually showcase their art. I believe they have, I didn't stay for the whole event, but I believe they have an auction or a place where you can buy some of the art, and they asked me this year to come say a few words for welcome, so I appreciate them and everything they do for our community and the art community. I was also invited to speak at the Women's Council of Realtors. They have a chapter here in the Valley, and each year they have the mayors come out, do about 20 minutes. It's really hard to do 20 minutes on our city. But we narrowed it down. Mayor Pro Tem joined me for some time there to listen to some of the other cities, and we were able to give that update to them. A lot of the women in real estate in our Coachella Valley do focus a lot on housing, and that's important for Desert Hot Springs to sell lots of houses here, so we were able to give a good update. I know this is a big discussion every time it rains, and every time the wind blows, is Indian Canyon and Palm Drive, Gino Autry, Visicino. We've reiterated over and over again that it's taken us almost 5 years to get here, but we're finally in a study that will hopefully produce a reasonable financial target that we can get to, that we can build fabricated bridges over that area to let the water go underneath. I don't know what we'll do exactly for the wind and the sand, but there's options to be made there. The engineering firm has been hired by the Coachella Valley Association of Governments. They are working through that. We'll have a meeting next month. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but I'm going to ask for an update. I would believe the plan would be approved sometime this year, in hopes that we would look for funding sometime in the next year, couple years. And also Congressman Ruiz is helping us with our part of the study, which is the Little Morongo, Dillon Road, those types of areas, and they've awarded us $2.5 million for plans and a study to get it rolling. It's not a cost that is very. It's a big cost, and it's going to cost us a lot, but there's ways to do it in a way that it won't be as expensive. But once we have that plan done, that'll help us then go out and find funding. So we'll keep at it. I can't guarantee it's going to be done tomorrow, but it's now in the queue to be done eventually. And then, as council member said up here, the loss of Judy Shea and Kurt are two people that are really important to our community. Kurt came, he was a very quiet guy. I met him in Rotary, but he loved hiking, loved the outdoors. He was involved in quite a few things behind the scenes. He wasn't the guy that you'd walk in and, oh, Kurt's here. He was just always that guy who would stand there and say hi to you every once in a while. But he just wanted to live his retirement here, and it was unfortunate we lost him. We lost a good member of our community. And then I was invited to the Elks Lodge to say a few words for Judy Shea, who we announced last month had passed away with a short illness. And I talked to her family. They're very nice people. They're going to continue to keep the Veterans Center open. They have funding for it now, and as of right now, I believe they have 8 or 10 people still living there. And so they're going to, just want to reassure the community that that's not going to be closed down tomorrow. They do have funding to keep it open, and the son is pretty energized. He had a lot of energy. He was very passionate about keeping her vision going there and her friends and her family. So that'll be important, and I've talked to our staff about doing something small for Judy in our community, that she would never let you forget that she was here, and we should not let anyone forget that she was a part of our community and what she did for many, many, many years. That's all I have.
Quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
So I was made aware that the sand on Indian, when it blows over,
You pick it up and you put it
That's
back
what I
on,
heard-
put it
that's what I
back on the west side, yeah.
really?
Doesn't make sense. So because of environmental sensitivity, you have to move the sand in the quickest way back to its normal state if you can. So a lot of times with the sand, the way it comes over, they have to just push it back onto the west side, which then blows back over, then push it back on the west side. It's one of those jobs that will never go away until we solve that problem. Job security. It's frustrating, and we're trying to work through it. All right, I'm going to move up item 9 of the administrative calendar if no one has any objections. Sorry, staff, I probably should have said something, but I think most of the audience here tonight is for that item, so there's no reason not to move that up. Item 9 of the administrative calendar is Hot Springs Park. Mr. Haker, would you be available to start with your report?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, number 9? Oh, this is the revised agenda. That's what wasn't in your initial packet. Yeah. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. In 1994, the City of Desert Hot Springs purchased Hot Springs Park. Hot Springs Park is located on the northwest corner of Palm Drive and 8th Street, adjacent to the Desert Hot Springs Spa Hotel. In an effort to improve the conditions of Hot Springs Park and replace park features that were no longer properly working and were causing safety concerns, City Council approved the rehabilitation of Hot Springs Park into Reflection Park and authorized city staff to submit a grant application for this community development block grant funding for the redesign and construction of Reflection Park. Public Works contracted to have a construction fence installed around the perimeter of the approved future site of Reflection Park. The installation of the fence was to limit access to the future construction site and limit extra maintenance costs due to vandalism and public safety related issues. City staff met with the adjacent hotel representatives to address their concerns about having a fence installed in front of their property. City staff presented 2 options as compromise. Option 1 was to leave the fence in place and install a coming soon banner to go across the fencing in anticipation of the construction of Reflection Park. Option 2 was to remove the vertical structures within the park, backfill the pools and ponds, and then remove the fencing. City staff received an email and voicemail confirming the hotel representative's option on how the city should proceed. The hotel representative requested that the city proceed with the fence removal and demolition of the vertical structures in the park. City staff received an email from the hotel representatives instructing the city to cancel the demolition of the vertical structures and cancel the removal of the fencing around the park until city receives permission from the hotel. Staff's recommendation is for City Council to provide direction to staff on one of the following options. 1, leave the fencing in place and order and install a coming soon banner to go on the fencing until Reflection Park is completed. Or 2, direct the awarded contractor to remove the vertical structures, backfill the ponds and pools, and remove the construction fencing until Reflection Park project begins. That concludes my report. I am here to answer any questions.
Great. I'm going to take public comments first, and then we'll get into comments by staff. Anyone would like to speak on this, you don't need to be called. You may come up. You will be given 3 minutes once you state your name. Might have to push the button there it'll turn red.
That thing?
Perfect.
Thank you. So, my name is Emery Lesko, and I'm the manager over at Miracle Springs. But I have a son. He's 8. And I talked to a lot of kids over the past month about, do you guys know where the water comes from? I had 40 kids, not one of them did. Not one. But let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the homeless problem. Because that's where this stems from. It's not the park you're trying to get rid of. It's the homeless people that live in the park, defecate in the water, make a mess, and they're just unsightly coming up Palm Drive, which we appreciate, but the police department doesn't have time to police that area. They just don't. You know, when we make a call about a domestic violence, it takes them 20 minutes to get there, 15 minutes. You know, they're busy doing other things. Why don't you let us take the park over from the spa? We have security 24 hours a day. We have cameras. We have staff. We have everything that needs to happen for you not to put this money into that park. You could take it, put it in the skate park. You could put it in the baseball park, right? I think I'm right, where you could take that funding and put it in any park you'd like. Why don't you take that money and you've got a great baseball team, help them. You got a lot of kids who would love a new skate park because your skate park's tiny compared to skate parks where I'm from up in San Francisco. They're huge, right? Why not take it, that money, and use it for another park? You know, 90% of the children in this town that graduate from here, they don't stay here. They don't. They go find another place to live because they're scared, right? Why not find some other place we could do something for those children where we promote them to stay, right? And raise their families here. Right? So I think the bigger problem is the homeless problem. I get probably 10 guests a week asking me, am I safe here? Am I safe in this area? You know, I came up the street and we're checking into the hotel. This is not a great town. And I keep convincing them, you know, no, it's a great town. You know, we got great water. You're on an island here and, you know, nothing's going to happen. Do we kick out a lot of homeless people? Yeah, every day. We do. We do. We keep them off the property. And that's what we do. Well, let us just extend that a little bit into that park. Keep the park, you know, as it is, or maybe renovate it a little bit, but take that money and really focus on the kids in this town. Ask the kids what they might want, not what we want. We're old. They might want something different. I know a lot of these kids skate. A lot of these kids, they're getting into gunfights. It's bad. Okay? Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thank you. Next speaker. You may. Please state your name again for the record.
Paul Scopolitas. To tell you a couple of stories, if I may. I went to the AutoZone the other day, and I commented that the windows were boarded up, and I said, "You guys got burglarized, huh?" And they said, "Well, the homeless people come in and they steal our chemicals and our batteries and things." And you know, I said, "Yeah, that's a drag." And I got what I needed. Then I went over to Arco to get some gasoline, and a lady with a shopping cart came on up, and she had batteries and carburetor cleaners and all these things, and she asked me if I wanted to buy anything, and I said, "No, I don't want to get involved in any of that, and please go away." And she said, "Well, if you go to the store and make a list, I'm here. You can give me the list of what you need, and I'll have it for you the next day." So the homeless people are doing real well. I've lived here since like 81, and I remember when we had Tommy's and the Mother's Pizza down there. We had dart leagues and different things, and I mean, I know a lot of people. I know where to get a good haircut, and I know the police department. I'm the fellow that got Larry Essex his Harley Davidson motorcycle. I mean, I'm afraid to go to the gas station after dark. They come up and they say, "Hey, you got an extra $5?" No. And then they say, "Well, I don't think you care if I get to where I'm going or not. You know, leave me alone, mister. I'm just trying to pump my gas." Yeah, it's frightening. My son, Daniel, is 27 now. He has autism. And I used to walk him through the water park, and we'd have, pick up sticks and have sword fights and different things. And you do have good parks, and you have good people here and good things going on. But where is everybody? I got 5 boys, and everybody grew up and wanted to get out of here as quick as they can. And I have to go visit them. They don't want to come up here. They came to my park. They came to, I live at the Casa del Sol, across from where you pay the water bill. My son came to visit, a couple months ago, and we had dinner and this and that. We went outside and he fired up his car to find out his catalytic converter was gone. And I know that that's everywhere, but I mean, I don't understand what's happening. All the buildings are empty, all the people are
I
gone.
need you to focus on the hot water park. That's what this item is
Okay,
about.
I apologize.
No worries.
I would like to see the hot water park stay. I would like to see the kids have a place to go. The skate park's great if you're a skate parker. The other park's great if you live across the street. You've already got your group and your game, and the courts are reserved for the rest of the next year. But the park was kind of someplace everybody could go and just kind of monkey around. And anyway, I'd like to see the water park stay. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, I'm a long-term Valley resident. As a teenager, I used to go to the movies with a short for $1, right next to south of the border. Shortly after that, I met up with Mr. Bigford, worked on his advertising for the Desert Hot Springs Spa. Now he has 2 large, well-maintained hotel properties. The TOT from both properties is significant, and it's paid from the over 190,000 annual visitors to the city that go to 1 or 2 of those resorts. I also recall the most recent Desert Hot Springs financial challenges, just prior to the cultivation boom in the city. Back then it was tight. The city hall and council chambers came out very nicely. Then COVID hit and the hotels were having a terrible time keeping their boats afloat. However, it got done. Fast forward, the city's looking to spend almost $500,000 to work on that pond. Why should the city pay so much when you have a businessman and a resident willing to do the work required on his own, out of his own pocket? Please continue your conservative fiscal manner. Allow Mr. Bigford to do the work. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on this item?
I remember when Hot Springs Park was built before I had kids. My kids were born in 95 and 99, and they loved to go to the Hot Springs Park. I loved to show them all the history of hot water and how our Native Americans had been custodians of hot water in this valley. And I love to tell them the story of Cabot Yerxa and Merry Christmas. It's a wonderful story. And a lot of things happen because of the hot water. Just a little side note. We had a group from the PGA here, Tour of Champions, old folks, that were here, and we were presented a thank you by Manny Perez, our county supervisor. Now, to get back to focus, it cost about $25,000 to build that fence. I was looking at the receipt. It's not signed. Why do we have receipts in the official files with no one signing them? That's a hint to me that just maybe it wasn't authorized. I don't know. When we met with the city staff, I was told there's no paperwork on that. We don't know of any paperwork on the signing over of that property from Mr. Bickford to the city. But in here, there's the paperwork. It's signed by Mike Segrist, if you remember him, and it's signed by Lynn Burns, Mr. Bickford's wife, in August 4th, 1994. Why does this all of a sudden show up now? And we don't want to have a fight with the city, but I happen to know that no stone will be left unturned to save Hot Springs Park. So why have a battle? Why have agitation? Nobody wins a war. So I want to leave that with you. And can we work something out? And can we really negotiate rather than be given two choices? That's all we were given was two choices. I'm used to thinking out of the park. I'm the one that came up with the second story on the Hot Springs High School. Mrs. Pye was there at the same meeting, and we saved enough money to move the football field to phase 1. I remember when we brought it out for Palm Drive to be 5 lanes away. There's a lot we can do together, and let's work together. I'm sorry I went over time.
Go ahead, sir. Sorry,
Thank you very much, Roger LaGreca.
Hold on, before you start, I'm just taking a minute here. Mr. Moen, you walked a really, really, really fine line there.
Thank you.
About threatening the city, and that's not proper to do it from that podium. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Roger LaGreca, and I am one of 500 individuals who rely on the ability for the businesses in the 8th Street, 12th Street corridor of Palm Drive to thrive for our own livelihood. So we just want to ask, and hope that you'll be able to come to a win-win solution that'd be best for the city. Of course, you know, we have a lot on your plates to meet your constituents' needs. And just to remember that there's many of us that are Valley residents who rely on the ability for our own livelihoods in these establishments. And we just want to thank you for your support and remembering us as you come to a conclusion in this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak to this item? I see nobody coming forth at this time. We'll move to council member comments. Mr. Gardner.
I'm not quite ready yet for comments, but I did have a question for staff.
Sure. Go ahead.
Jeff, do we have a timeline on when regardless of which option we choose, leave the fence up or put the banner up or tear down the structures, when the park itself will be reconstructed and back open? We do have funding available. Or do we have it? Is it on the capital improvement project timeline?
Yeah, so we had 2 phases for this project that you guys both phases were already approved by City Council. We were waiting for phase 2, which we just got approved, I want to say a couple months ago, or yeah, a little more than a couple months ago.
I mean, in order for to really make a good decision on this, do we know? I mean, is construction imminent? Is construction 6 months? Is it a year? Is it?
It's going to come. We just need a direction, and we're going to start construction.
Okay. Well, let's assume then that we give you direction to proceed with construction.
Yes, please, Denny.
So right now, if it's direction to move with the demolition of the vertical structure, that can start immediately. The construction of the park, is that what you're asking? The construction of the park would be at the end of this calendar year. Is that correct, Nick?
Yeah, we would still have to go through the process for that portion of the construction to go out to bid, review the bids, and go through the whole bidding process.
And then go through. So you're looking at it being completed at the end of the year or started at the end?
Starting at the end of this year.
Okay. So that helps us make a decision of whether we want to leave a fence up with a banner for that long or tear the fence down and leave it blank. That's what I was trying to get at, is how long before we see a started construction in a completed park. And you were saying we'll start construction towards the end of the year then, correct? Okay, that's all I've got. Thanks. I'll save comments for later, so.
Sure. Who else? Anyone?
I just have a couple of questions, Mr. Mayor, if I may, for staff. So we can safely say that construction has stalled because we've opened up the dialogue process with residents to see what agreement we can come up with as far as what they want to see, what we want to do with the park and whatnot.
So I wouldn't say the construction is stalled because of that. So with respect, there's a couple different things on the table here. So we've got the grant funding, which is kind of a combination of what Nick was just being questioned about. So the city has been granted 2 specific grants through CDBG funding to basically redo the park up there. And so those grants have been approved, and so that's still going through the process at this point. Now, with all of the issues that were going on at the park and in anticipation of a new park, what the city did was put a fence up to try to abate those issues in the surrounding area. And so now what we're looking at is how do we proceed? What has stalled is essentially the demolition work that we originally had come to an agreement with the neighbor on to take down the fence to kind of demo the site so it wasn't a public safety nuisance. So that's what stalled, not the overall construction for the new park.
Okay, but we opened up the dialogue with the residents to say, hey, how long has that process been going?
So first, when we say the residents, I want to be really clear. It really has been the neighboring hotel, so we have not reached out to everybody in the neighborhood. And so that dialogue has really been going on for the better part of almost a year now, with it really kind of heating up in the fall of last year.
Sure.
So the dialogue that he's mentioning, that hasn't held up the new construction of the park. The normal process is council decides something, a bunch of time goes by, and then all of a sudden you come back and say, remember what we talked about a long time ago? Well, it's finally time to get started.
That's correct.
And
So
and
that has not stopped.
Okay, and so what you're telling us is the time to get started is looking like it's going to be 9 months from now.
Right.
And the cost of the park, what were the grant amounts?
I don't have those figures on us. We would probably have to get back to you on that.
We don't have a ballpark idea on the amount? I heard 500,000 thrown around. Do we have any
I
idea?
remember it being $500,000 was estimated,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
The city has secured 2 CDBG grants, a little bit over $500,000 that are secured for the upgrades of this park. We haven't gone out to bid or anything like that, so we don't have the final cost.
So we went out and we said, we want CDBG grants for this park, not just for parks. And so if we don't do this park, do we lose that CDBG funding?
I'm not sure exactly. We'd have to go back to the state and figure out where we can utilize it. Now, the applications are based on location and type of project and so forth, so it's not just changing the entire project. We would have to resubmit and ask for reallocation through the state.
Oh, okay, and I imagine it wouldn't be the first time the state's been asked to, hey, listen, we've had a change of plans, and if there was, that was gonna happen. I'm not suggesting that, I'm just exploring what's possible here. Okay, I didn't have any questions, I got comments. You wanna go for comments now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I can't see leaving the place bulldozed for 9 months. I think you're ahead of yourself bulldozing it. It looks better now than it's gonna look if it's bulldozed. We have a business there that I have to think has been negatively impacted by this fence, and I understand why staff did it. We had a problem at that park, and this was the means to deal with that. I'm not faulting anybody for that. It seems to me that if a banner had gone up that said, new improvements, I mean, we've all seen them, improvements coming to our community, pardon our construction, and maybe if somebody said, well, pardon our construction sign's been up there a while, but at least the sign would have been up there, and people coming to visit that property, that business, that provides a lot of, visitors and benefit to our city. We really need to mitigate that. And so now I'm thinking, okay, what's the next step? We're going to take down this fence, but then we're going to leave a bulldozed, barren lot? And that doesn't seem to make sense to me either. I think, the council decided that we wanted to get a new park there. And I didn't realize that that beautiful rock work, everything to the north side of that, was part of what we were talking about. I personally had a problem with the water feature that was in the front, and I always thought that that should have been back further. I mean, you usually walk to a feature like that to give the park more depth and everything else, but those are my design nuances. But it just doesn't make sense to go just leave that thing all bulldozed and a mess, a construction mess. I don't like it when somebody goes in and bulldozes a construction site and it just leaves it. What do we got, the wind fence, the ripped graffiti-ridden wind fence? Is the fence going to stay up on the bulldozed site, or is it just going to be a bulldozed site?
It would go to raw land, no fence.
Okay, I think, it looks better now. It doesn't look great right now. I took a look at it. It needs sprucing up. And then to the question of what we can do, I appreciate the staff's provided us a couple options, but to, correct one of the speakers, it's not just the 2 options. We can decide what we want to do with that. We could say, go back to the state, tell them we want to revisit this, we want to run it, put the park back in its original condition. We want to, but, I'm kind of thinking the the thing to do here is not make the problem worse for this business and for the community driving past it. At least when I drive by, it looks better than dirt. We got a lot of vacant dirt around the city on Palm Drive. We don't need more right now. So that would be my view. Until I hear what everybody else has to say.
Ms. Pye, anything?
There's some misinterpretations. The park is going to stay. We have CBD grant which is specific to the park. It possibly can go someplace else, but that's a risk. But it is going to the park. Now, there's a public safety thing there currently. And so if we don't eliminate the public safety, then we're publicly saying it can happen. He's gone, but yes, I was there at the time that happened. And originally, there was an agreement that the hotelier would take care of the park. Apparently, it's not being taken care of. And the question is, do we want to eliminate the public safety problems? And so far as the police concerned, there's only certain things that the police can do within the law. It's not because they don't want to, it's what's happened within the law. My question is, should we get rid of the public safety and demolish everything? What's going to take over the empty lot so far as wind and et cetera?
So the thought with respect to demoing was to basically take the structures that are vertical and flatten them. That's been the biggest concern at this point, was folks hiding behind those structures. So landscaping would stay. I want to make that abundantly clear. I said that it would go down to raw land, but the current landscaping would stay. But basically all the vertical structures would go away. So then when you're looking out, the line of sight is to see wide open space. So public safety, is driving by, they'd be able to see any elements there. So I hope that, I don't know if that answers your question, but I think the city attorney also wants to clarify something.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, just to clarify, this is obviously a contentious item. To Councilmember Pye's comment, the city does have a purchase and sale agreement, which is in your packet. And what we don't have, and that we have not been able to find, is a purported maintenance agreement between the city and Desert Hot Springs Rural Properties. That was something we believe that in 2000 was drafted, never executed, and never brought forth before the city council.
We have it, it's just
So,
not exist.
yeah, we do have a copy of it, it's just not executed. So this is a purported agreement. What we do have executed, and what is also in your packet, is in fact the purchase and sale agreement, which is Exhibit A to the staff report. Correct.
Purchase and sale from who?
The city purchased it from the property owner at that
correct.
time.
Okay, so if I can just do, so we purchased it from the hotel,
No.
put it in a park.
We did not purchase it from the hotel. I believe the signer is Lynn Burns.
Okay, so we purchased it from the
It's
owner of the property
Desert Hot Springs.
Desert Hot Springs Real Properties.
and then put in a park. And once you buy something, it's our responsibility to maintain it unless you have an executed agreement to otherwise, and we don't have an executed agreement to the otherwise. Thank you.
Do you want me to go into a little clarification on the maintenance agreement?
Not yet.
Okay.
Unless it's asked directly. Anything else, Ms. Pye?
Well, if she's going to go in the maintenance agreement, I can talk about it too, but go ahead. But
Did you want to know more about the maintenance agreement?
I know something about it, but she can go ahead.
Well, I didn't hear a direct question wanting to get into the details of that, so I don't want to make the conversation longer. I still have comments. Mr. Gardner has comments. Go ahead.
couple of thoughts on this. Right now, I will agree with Mr. Moen and others that it is not a sightly property right now. We need to do something. My preference would be to see the structures and the fence come down and let it be open until such time as we can get the construction going on it. And it's better than a fence, and we can't take the fence down by itself and leave the structures up, because then we'll have the public safety issues that Ms. Pye and staff have mentioned. So to me, the option is to take the fence down, take down the vertical structures, make it look as nice as possible. We'll still continue to maintain it to a degree so it doesn't become an ugly weed-filled lot, and we can wait to get the construction going on it. I do have some very grave concerns about allowing a private company to develop something on public property and maintain it in the guise of it being a park. That is a function of the city, and we would be opening ourselves to a lot of liability, a lot of other cross issues if we were to allow a private business to build and improve a park on city land. So that doesn't seem to be a fair option to me. So I think right now putting a banner up would be putting lipstick on a pig, but tearing down the structures, tearing down the fence, grading it out, making it look as nice as possible would be the best alternative until we can proceed with construction.
I'm going to give a few comments. I've been trying to take deep breaths and kind of calm down with what I really want to say, but I don't think I'm going to hold back. Mr. Moen, I have respected for many, 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 many years, and just lost a huge amount of respect for him for how he treated this city council and how he walked out on this city council when we were able to give him maybe some solutions to what that problem is, and to be paid by the business owner to come here and lobby and advocate for him. I guess we can't stop that. But either way, there's Mr. Moen, now he's back. So I'm hoping that you'll listen to us. And so the history on the Hot Springs Park is very simple. That's not where it was supposed to be built. It was supposed to be built somewhere else. The business owner lobbied at that time with the mayor and council members back in the early 90s to have that park built there. He amazingly was able, one of the owners of that property, the hotel next door, was able to sell that parcel to the city. And there was supposed to be a maintenance agreement, right? The maintenance agreement was never signed by anyone, city or the owners. And that's a shame, because it truly shows that that business owner never did any maintenance on that property. They might have swept it, might have sent someone out there to rake it. Those trees are overgrown. The waterfalls were never kept clean. And the reason that the city came in there and put a fence around it was because of which the first speaker that's paid by the owner of that property also to come speak here tonight stated that homeless are doing things they shouldn't be doing on that property. So the city came in there because we heard all these complaints. We applied for a CDBG grant to help enhance that park. There's 3 other places I would love to put money into for parks that are due in this community. Rancho del Oro has been waiting for a park for 25 years, and they haven't got their park. But now we're going to spend more money on upgrading another park because of the vandalism and the way it looks. So let's go back to what the city should have been doing for years, but we were under the impression that there was an agreement on file and that the maintenance should have been taken care of by the property owner, which he didn't take proper maintenance of that property. And now is asking us to give the property back to them to do maintenance on it. They're not going to do that. We want to take down the fence. We all agree on that, right? The property owner came to us, sat down, had a conversation. I agree with take the fence down. Can't put a banner up, because all it's going to do is Christina's going to have her crew out there every day chasing people out from behind that banner, because they're going to be over there doing bad things behind the banner. But the way to make it safer today, because we're going to go and we're going to rebuild a beautiful park there and enhance it and bring it to life again. I think Mr. Betts had a rendering that he put together a while back that looked beautiful, and who knows what that will exactly look like. But we had complaints recently because we spent $700,000 on a restroom in a park that was vandalized over and over and over again. It took us 2 years to get most of that funding through the CDBG, so now people didn't realize we had to be, this has been talked about for years now, and we're working towards that. We're almost there, And now we're fighting and threatening legal action and everything else, which is just ridiculous. The owner that is coming to us and paying that man to sit in the front here and say those things doesn't take care of the properties that he has. So why would we even give him a property to sit there and take care of one of our parks? Sorry, that's the truth. That's the way I feel. That's my opinion. I'm a steward of the people of the community. I was elected to do that, and I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. There was a deal done many years ago to move that park up there for that business's benefit, and it was done by a city council in the city at that time, right? They didn't keep it up. It's ugly. We're going to make it look nice. I agree. Let's take down the fence. Let's level the buildings. There's still trees there. It'll still look halfway beautiful. It might just look like raw dirt. Maybe we can throw some DG down. I don't know, for the next 9 months. But that'll look a lot better than it does today. And I think we'll all be on the same page at that point. So those are my comments.
Say something in response to that. First off, I think there's a rule here that when people step up to this podium, they're not to disparage this council. And I think that reciprocates back to the members of the public. I understand you're a little bit upset, but I think you've gone a little too far in disparaging Tom Moen. He's lived in this community 44 years, and nothing he says to me is anything but a genuine comment on the way he feels, and he's put in a lot of time and effort as a citizen of this community, and it doesn't matter who he works for, he's here speaking on what he thinks is the best for that park, not just somebody who's influenced by money that he's earning from his employer. And I find those comments to be offensive, putting it nicely.
And I thank you for that.
And
There
so
is
the
nothing here that stops me from replying to the public.
I got it.
When they don't use decorum and they treat the city council the way they do, I'm going to say it back. And that's the way I feel.
Okay, well, I didn't hear whatever you heard. I didn't take it that way. But anyhow, the next thing is that there is the option, as Mr. Gardner's point isn't, I don't think they're proposing that the city, that they build a park on city land. I think the option was just reverse this deal and they'll take care of it. Now to who was responsible for taking care of that park, and staff's done a great job sorting through this, trying to figure out what to do with a difficult situation, but they got a mess. I mean, we got streets in Rancho Del Oro that hadn't been dedicated over to the city because of sloppy paperwork. I mean, we got an agreement that wasn't signed. Who was the staffer that's supposed to go collect those signatures and execute an agreement and bring it to the council? It didn't happen.
No one here.
It's not, huh? You
Never-
have an
never went to
unexecuted
council.
agreement. We established that.
It never went to the city council.
Okay, so somebody talked about something, but it never got done. The only thing that ever gets done is right here at this dais when it's voted on by this council. And this council never acted on it. So you can't blame somebody for not maintaining a park that they were never obligated to maintain. There might have been some
Mr.
cost.
Betts, the debate is this. The property owner, which Mr. Mullen works for, him and his crew are the ones that brought this maintenance agreement to the city and said they were the ones that were supposed to
But
maintain
the city
it.
didn't do it.
Whether that's relevant or not, the agreement came from
I'm going
them.
to finish it. Maybe what they were saying was, if you guys aren't going to maintain it, here's an agreement, we'll do it, okay?
No, that's not what it was.
So anyhow, it doesn't matter. It's all mute. I know Tom Moen. He's a great, upstanding citizen of this community, and I want to speak up for him. And the other thing is it better if you're going to bulldoze this thing, and I'm not in favor of that. If you're going to bulldoze this thing, then, and I'm confident staff will do this. They're going to go in and make sure it's not just churned up, raw, ugly land. So you can at least offer that to people who have an affection for this park. It was a very nice park at one time, and how it got that way, I don't know. But anyhow, so the only caveat here for me is knowing that the staff that we have now is very good about, they see ugly, they want to fix it, and within their ability. So, I mean, if I could be satisfied, not everybody can be. So, good job, you guys. And so that's all I want to say.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we go for option number 2 of the staff's recommendation.
Second. So option number 2 is to direct and award the contractor to remove all the vertical structures, backfill the pools, ponds, and remove the construction fence until the Reflection Park project begins. There is a motion and a second. I'll open up to any other comments. I see none. As soon as it's moved on the screen, seconded on the screen, you may vote.
Motion passes with Councilmember Betts opposed.
All right, we're going to move back to the top of our agenda, the public hearings. Item number 7 is massage establishment fees, exemption from CEQA per guidelines, section 15061, subsection B3. And Ms. Newsom, this can be you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. In November of 2022, the City Council approved an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.160 of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code, which regulates massage establishments. Per the new regulations, 2 fees were to be set by resolution. First, a massage establishment permit application fee. The second, a massage establishment permit amendment fee. New fees need to be added due to new regulations or as the city adds services. The total user fee calculations for the massage establishment permit fee for full cost recovery is $561.70. The total user fee calculations for the massage establishment permit amendment fee for full cost recovery is $54.56. As these are new fees, the fiscal impact will be an increase in user fee revenues for the city. Currently, the city has approximately 10 massage establishments, which will generate over $5,000 in new user fees. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll open and entertain any questions to staff from the City Council. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Newsom, this does not cover the spa therapeutic services at our spas and resorts, does it?
Correct. So this is just for standalone massage establishments.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for staff before
I
we
got a
open the public
question.
hearing? Go ahead.
So what was the revenue?
Approximately $5,000 in new user fees.
And that'll match our costs?
That's for full recovery of our costs.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the public understands that we don't make money
Correct.
off of this stuff, that we have to spend every dollar that we take in, and your assessment is that this is how much it's going to cost?
Correct.
Thank you.
I have no other comments?
I'll make a
questions?
motion.
Nope, you cannot yet. I need to open the public hearing first. Take any public testimony in favor, opposed, or a neutral position. Please come forward. See nobody coming forward, we'll close the public hearing and I'll open it back up for discussion or motion.
Move that we adopt the massage establishment fees as recommended by staff.
I'll second.
I do have a motion, a second. Once there's motion, a second on the screen, is there any more discussion? See none, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, we'll move to the administrative calendar, item number 8, which is 2022 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. Mr. Clark, is this going to be your first report to the City Council?
This will. And
not to put you on the spot or
hopefully
anything.
not too controversial either. So each year, of course, the city is required to submit to the California Department of Housing and Community Development an annual progress report on the housing element. The current planning cycle is for the report is 2021 to 2029. That's October, so it's 8 years. So we are required to submit detailed data for new construction on the categories of entitled, permitted, and completed housing units, as well as progress on our program implementation. We also are required to submit data on income status for the units as well. So our staff combed through the data for 2022, and we ended up with these numbers. We have 107 units that are entitled, meaning they've made application for new housing, 175 that are permitted, and 122 that are completed. And I would note that of the permitted, 53 of those housing units are infill lots, so that's a pretty good number. Just to kind of refresh your memory on our RENA allocation, I know you've all probably seen these numbers many times in our housing element, but our total goal for the 8-year period is 3,873 units per the RENA allocation.
Can I get a copy of that slide?
Yes. So that's my report. Our recommendation is to adopt a resolution to the City Council directing staff to submit the 2022 HCD Housing Element Annual Progress Report, which is due April 1st.
Well, we're on track, so. All right, I'll open up the public comments. Anybody like to speak on this item? See nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments. I'll open up to council comments or a motion.
I'll make a motion to, what are we doing here?
Approve the resolution.
Thanks. Approve the resolution, and with a comment that I'd like to see if we can accelerate some of the progress on we're doing okay on the market rate, but we need to start working on some of these other categories. We got the very low, moderate. I guess above moderate is called the market rate. Is that correct? There's a motion in here somewhere, by the way. So I would like to see, we got a couple things down the line, but I'd like to have staff come and give us some update at a regular time to say where we are, because we've got an obligation to provide housing in this community.
We can absolutely do that. And Eric, who is not here today, he actually is specifically working on affordable housing as part of his new role in the city manager's office.
Okay. I do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Once it's up on the screen, any more comments? Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
I have two more items. They should not take long. Item number 10 is authorization, authorize approval of banking services agreement. Mr. Buckheim, I didn't want to speak for you. I'm assuming it's not a long report, but.
No, not at all. And I'll make it even quicker. So the city's current banking contract with Union Bank expires May 19th, 2023. So the city submitted a request for proposals that were issued in January. The due date for proposals was at the end of January, and the city received 3 proposals, which is Union Bank, which is actually now merged with U.S. Bank as of December 2022, Wells Fargo Bank, and Chase Bank. As for the staff, city staff have reviewed the proposals and have given a average score of 50 points total in the ranking. Union Bank was ranked the highest. It had a reasonable estimated annual service charge. Other benefits that the city would receive a $25,000 credit to be used for either service charge or for setup fees for new services. Other services that they are the only ones that they're the only ones that will provide armored vehicle courier services, which that was actually a mandatory service as part of the RFP. The other 2 proposals did not include that, so that would require the city to contract out separately and with an extra cost on that. Wells Fargo came in second. It had a higher annual service fee. They did provide a $5,000 credit. And they also have a daily sweep, or kind of a daily sweep of whatever's left in the checking account into an overnight investment account. Interest rates for that aren't large, so any extra income earned on that may not totally offset the higher costs. And then Chase Bank, which even though it did come in the lowest of the service charge, they didn't offer any other services, and they also did not provide courier services, which is a requirement of our RFP. So staff has chosen Union Bank. As of September 30th, 2022, Union Bank / U.S. Bank has over $600 billion in assets, 70,000 employees. It has extensive experience with government services, government agencies, 550 clients. Most of them are California, Oregon, and Washington. It's been rated outstanding in Community Reinvestment Act performance evaluation, and as part of its community services, Union Bank has funded over $2.8 million in residential loans within Desert Hot Springs in 2021. Also funded small business loans. Its employees have provided about 131 hours of volunteer work to nonprofits in Desert Hot Springs. And it's provided over $1.4 million in charitable donations to organizations throughout Riverside County, of which some are included in Desert Hot Springs. So if you have any questions,
We'll take any comments from the public first. Any public comments?
My name's Tom Mullen. I'm a 44-year resident of Desert Hot Springs. Banks. Last 3 weeks, our country's had a banking crisis, and I am afraid of them. I have professional investment accounts that I invest our family money in. And I've been reading about the banks. And the banks that failed, they failed because they had too much money invested in government treasury bills. And as the price on them went down, the value of the bank's funds went down, and they had people drawing. So they picked the wrong investment. And I don't have any axe to grind, but I would please ask, where do they have their reserves invested? This is very important. We do not need any more failed banks. And I would urge you, even if it takes a couple of extra weeks, verify where the money is. This whole town is depending on all of you to put our city's money in a safe place. Thank you.
Any other comments? See nobody coming before the closed public comments, council? Mr. Nunez?
Yes, Jeffrey. Just one question. So if we did go to contract independently armored, how much does that cost annually?
Annually, depending on the service and where they would have to go, it could be anywhere like for $5,000 to $10,000.
So to put the other banks right in line with U.S. Bank, that if we had to use that, there's
Right, so it would put, I mean, doing that would put additional costs with Wells Fargo Bank, and then it would put the Chase Bank with kind of within line with the U.S.
Union
Bank.
Bank. Okay, thank you, sir.
Comments?
Yes. So I'm a pretty strong believer that the businesses that service your community are the ones that you should look to first. And Union Bank's not located in our city. We've had Bank of America leave, so I'm glad they're not on this list. But Union Bank isn't in our community. We have Wells Fargo and Chase. I don't know why PNC Bank didn't put in a bid, but I think your first three choices are the local banks. And then as I look at these proposals, I'm glad staff revised the agenda to include the proposals from Wells Fargo and Chase so that we could view those. The community services provided by the banks is an important consideration. As you go through the Wells Fargo proposal, as it was the last time when they had a representative here making the pitch, they do a lot locally. And I see the numbers that you provided for Union Bank, but it's not what Wells Fargo would do. And I'm not making a pitch for Wells Fargo, I'm just saying that's reality. The same thing as Chase also takes particular note of services to our minority communities, and they go to great lengths to present that in their proposal. And we certainly have a certain significant population, minority population in this community that would be served by that type of focus. And I'm just trying to figure out how those factors figured into our scoring. I don't want to be unfair here, but it seems like a lot of weight was given to the armored car. And that's the way the conversation went last time. Let's, well, geez, we got armored car facilities. Okay, well, great, that's good for us. It's easier for us. We don't have to go get another contract. But what's best for this community, not just City Hall? And so I would think that I would like to see the scoring sheets. Where I sit on other agencies, the scoring sheets are actually accompany the agenda packet. So I would like to see those included in the future. I would like to see them for here. What was the answer on how much armored car cost? Was it $10,000 a year? Between 5 and 10? So that's not a huge amount. We tag that onto these other proposals, and what Chase was the lowest.
Yes.
And if you put that on there, then they're equal with Union Bank. I don't see the attraction to Union Bank is what I'm getting at, I guess. Did we ask the other banks if they would include an armored car in their proposal?
That was in the RFP as one of the mandatory services with courier services.
All right, so maybe PNC didn't offer it because they don't do that either. They just rely on other people to. So anyhow, now Tom makes a really good point. I'm pretty hard not to notice what's going on in the banking industry right now. I think we need to take a real close look at that sector right now. the bank's accounts, their balances, and or where they're invested. But I don't know specifically our bank accounts, how many we have, how many with these banks, what type they are, how they're invested. I know we got something called Life.
That's the local area, a local agency investment fund, which is sponsored through the state of California.
Okay, and so funds there aren't they're guaranteed fully? Or is it like FDIC was only guaranteed up to 250,000?
I'm not sure. I don't think they're federally insured. I will have to check on that.
Okay, well, they may be better than FDIC because I pulled the regs for FDIC on government entities. I'm not an expert in this, but we're apparently called a public unit, as FDIC defines us. And if our funds had been in Silicon Valley Bank, we'd be scrambling right now, figuring out if we were going to get them or not, because we were only guaranteed up to 250,000 on one type of account and then 250,000 on a different type of account, or under some conditions only 250,000 in aggregate with certain accounts. I talked to Michael Bush, who's our financial advisory consultant, and he seems to think that there's certainly market concern. He said almost exactly the same thing Tom Moen did, and that this is worth taking a look and seeing what we did. And he was advocating, I think, LAIF, putting as much funds in LAIF and keeping out of the banks as possible. But I would like to see us, because I know U.S. Bank or Union Bank was in trouble and just got bailed out by U.S. Bank. And now I got to imagine U.S. Bank is now scrambling to absorb all of the Union Bank stuff, and people are trying to get comfortable with that. Where are they going to be when it comes time to do a program or a small business loan or something in the community? I would just like to see this item continued for a couple of weeks and see if we get Michael Bush to weigh in here and provide some, we pay him to provide advice to this council. And I certainly appreciate, if this was a normal routine item when this came through, when you put out the RFP, we didn't have this crisis that showed up in the last 2 weeks. But I think given that crisis, it'd be prudent to give this a couple more weeks to see what's going to shake out and get some more opinions on this. I'm not sure Union Bank's the best one to go to. I'm not an expert in this stuff, but their valuation has been on a steady decline for a year. You go look at some of these other banks, it's only in the past 6 months or 3 months that they've taken the big dive. And I don't want to speak out of turn against Union Bank, but I think it was down 28% over the past year. That's down significantly, where Chase and Wells Fargo haven't seen that type of. So anyhow, I don't want to go on too long here, but I just, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to continue for 2 weeks and ask Michael Bush of Urban Futures to come in and weigh in on this and provide a little additional expertise guidance to the council. That'd be my motion.
All right, without allowing any other council members to make comments, Mr. Betts has made a motion, so there's a motion on the table. Do I have a second? Okay, there is a second for discussion.
Thank you.
Mr. Gardner, anything?
Had a 30-year career representing banks and credit unions all across this country before federal regulators, federal Congress, state legislatures. I'm familiar with banking law. The FDIC does insure up to 250 in most cases, and that really only covers a crisis. In the case of Silicon Valley Bank, all depositors, regardless of size, were made whole. So in most cases, if a bank fails at the last minute like that, that is what happens. Only in rare cases do they only give the 250, and that's if there really is a major crisis. So I'm not terribly concerned about that one, but public entity deposits fall under a completely different structure. Public entities are only allowed to bank with banks of a certain rating, and so we can't just go out and pick any old bank either. And so they have to qualify to accept non-public or public deposits, and quite a few banks and no credit unions are allowed to accept public deposits. So our parameters are rather narrow. I'm comfortable with U.S. Bank and Union Bank, both. Union Bank is a California-based bank. U.S. Bank is headquartered now in Minneapolis, but Union Bank was a California bank. We don't have any local banks, sadly. It would be nice to have one here in town, but we don't. So the next best, I'm not starting a bank, trust me on that. But I think just because you have a branch here doesn't necessarily mean Chase is headquartered in New York. Wells Fargo is headquartered elsewhere as well. Bank of America is headquartered in South Carolina. So there are no such things as really as a local bank in particular here in the Coachella Valley. That being said, I'm happy to move forward with this. I believe the scoring you showed was accurate, and I think that the armored car piece is critical for that, particularly given that our cannabis businesses rely mostly on cash, and we have to haul that cash somewhere. So armored car services are a significant portion of our banking needs here in the city. So I'm prepared to move forward with this one. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To me, it just boils down to, there's two banks here that do business in our city, and I would rather feel more comfortable with the banks that are here, that have vested their time and energy into the community, to the residents. So I would be happy to stick with either Wells Fargo or Chase, just because they're here.
And my comments are I can't support the motion. I think that RFPs are important. I think people need to respond correctly. I don't think Wells Fargo or Chase is really invested in our community. I know that they're a local branch. I appreciate them being in our community. But as we saw with Bank of America, as soon as they needed to start cutting, they cut right out of Desert Hot Springs. The corporate world's not going to matter. I don't really have a say in which bank we should use. I just know we're using Union Bank correctly or currently at this time.
Yes.
There would be a staff time and moving the money of the accounts. We did have local banks here in the city when I grew up. We did use, I think, one of the local banks here for a long time with the city, but we had to move it to a larger bank to make sure we were secured. The $250,000 FDIC insured, that's, to make most individuals like myself that have 13 cents in the bank because I have 5 kids, secured enough that I'll get my 13 cents back. But when it comes to making the businesses whole, the federal government came in and the banking industry shut down or stopped the local banks that are going under now quick enough to be able to save the money for the corporate entities that had their money invested in those banks. Does it make you feel comfortable with the current situation? No, not one bit, but I do feel comfortable with the 3 banks that did apply. I would feel comfortable with either one of them. But I just don't see you spending any more time moving accounts yet until we know what I don't disagree with the fact that Mr. Betts said we should get a better analysis from our financial advisor. I don't have a problem doing that with the situation that we're in today in the future, but I would move forward with continuing with Union Bank. They have the armored car service. We have everything set up. This will take a lot of work to move our accounts over somewhere else. I'm not here to debate whether having 2 branches in our community is important or not. I just don't see the benefit on moving the accounts today. That's just my opinion. All right, if there's no other comments.
Just one other comment. If you don't have we already got 64% of our revenue goes across the freeway, because we don't have those businesses here in town, and we got 2 businesses that are in town, and I just can't believe that we would not support businesses that are supporting our town.
I honestly don't think, not to interrupt you, but I honestly don't think this account might be out of our city of Desert Hot Springs, being Wells Fargo and Chase. A lot of times these banks have financial mechanisms where government accounts and others are at the different branch. If I'm correct, Wells Fargo might be out of the Palm Desert branch. That's where they handle most of their financial investments.
I'm not talking about where our staff does their banking. I'm talking about companies that have branches maintained in our city. And I just think you maintain, and where I come from, those that are taking care of you, you try and reciprocate as long as it's not costing you anymore. And these don't cost us anymore. These proposals are close. The armored banking is just something that could be contracted for. But anyhow, Mr. Mayor, I guess it's time for a vote. Call the question on the motion.
Hold on. Okay, let me clarify the motion. That I do have 2 more comments, so I'm not going to call for the vote yet. The motion was to continue until the next meeting to give a analysis by our financial advisor on investment advisors. Is that clear?
Yeah, but that's not what reads on the screen. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Can the city clerk fix that? Why Ms. Pye has a question she has.
We have a certain deadline. What is that deadline? And if we had Wells Fargo or Chase, where would that banking come from? And before you answer that question, we currently have someone that's working with Chase, working with us with Chase, but not Wells Fargo. And that's just for information only. Go ahead.
So where the accounts would work from, actually the city, and this is pretty normal with all government agencies, has very little to do with the local branches. The funds, these banks, they take you out of, you work with their government services offices. U.S. Bank or Union Bank will be working with the office in Long Beach, Los Angeles. Wells Fargo would be working with the bank or the office in San Bernardino, and Chase would be working with the office in Irvine. Our funds would not go to the local branch. They would be trucked off to their vaults in Los Angeles. Also, if we were to change banks, and which is why I wanted to make sure we got a good enough start on it, it would probably take about 2 months or so to do all. There'd be a lot of staff work. It takes a couple of months to be able to sign the documents, do all the signature items, make all the changes for direct deposits for payroll, where our deposits are getting from the state and the county and their different agencies. So that is quite a bit of work. The RFP, part of the RFP not only had mandatory for armored courier services, which is very important because, as Councilmember Gardner has said, cannabis facilities are still mainly cash. But also, I do not, even if they weren't out, do not want to put the liability of having our staff go to with cash and checks going to a bank in their own vehicles.
Did we say that?
No, but I'm saying that the reasons for why the courier services are important. But another portion of the RFP was for them to provide what their involvement in community development is, or community services. That was also included in the evaluations of their of each proposal. Yes, Wells Fargo has a higher amount because they do have a branch here. People just automatically go to that branch. Union Bank, U.S. Bank, even though they don't have a branch here, they still do quite a bit of service within the city of Desert Hot Springs. As for the safety and the recent bank collapses, that's an issue that every organization is going to have, no matter what bank we have, which is a reason why we try to diversify our portfolio. We're using LAIF. Fiona Ma, the state treasurer, just sent out a recent announcement saying that our funds with LAIF are safe. They have a very diversified portfolio, and we're in the process of utilizing that that service more. We also have, like with our own reserves, the city has a diverse portfolio with our own reserves. We have money out with Chandler Investment. We have MBIS Securities, and then Arbitrage Management. So we are looking at making sure that we have a diversified portfolio and not keeping too much money in one location. But that is an issue all government agencies are going to have to worry about, no matter what bank they choose.
That answers everybody's questions. Is there any more questions or comments before we take a vote?
One more comment. So just on the armored car, it is available to all three options, right? We just have to go contract it ourselves rather than the bank contracting it, right? Our staff, there's never a situation where our staff would have to take hundreds of thousands of dollars to the bank in their car.
Not hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would have to contract it. However, the one with Chase Bank, any deposits less than $10,000, would not be done through courier services. We actually have to take that to the bank.
Okay, so anyhow, okay, that's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so we have a motion on the table which is not correct on the screen. The motion is to.
Put continue.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, did you fix it? Oh. Okay. So the motion, to reiterate it, is to continue this item for 2 weeks while our financial advisor gives us a rundown on the banking situation before a decision is made on this RFP. Please vote.
While we're voting, I appreciate your comments, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Motion fails with Councilmember Gardner, Councilmember Pai, and Mayor Mattis against.
And I will make a motion that we authorize the approval of banking services agreement with U.S. Union Bank as presented by staff.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more comments? As soon as it's moved on the screen, seconded. Please vote.
Motion passes with Councilmember Betts opposed.
Item number 11 is the Contract Code Compliance Officer Professional Services Agreement. Ms. Newsom.
So currently, the Code Compliance Division has 3 full-time staff code compliance officers and 1 part-time officer. These officers conduct both interior and exterior inspections of commercial and residential properties. They respond to emergencies such as fires and flooding. They abate dangerous buildings as necessary and rotate for on-call weekend enforcement. In May of 2022, the city contracted 2 code compliance officers for focused enforcement in the city's commercial and residential zones. These officers were contracted as a part of a pilot program that focused on enforcement actions that amplified the city's beautification efforts. These officers have hit the ground running, building relationships in the community with property management companies, small business owners, property owners, and residents. They focus on enforcement that is beautification-based, such as landscape, signage, paint, fences, walls, stucco, and siding, and vacant property violations. And they always attempt to gain voluntary compliance whenever possible to avoid issuing administrative citations. These contract code officers allow staff code officers the ability to concentrate on life safety matters and specialized enforcement such as cannabis and vacation rental enforcement. Staff is recommending the approval of the professional services agreement for code compliance staffing with Wildan in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for a 3-year term to continue focused enforcement efforts that contribute to the city's beautification efforts and concentrate on maintaining long-term compliance. And I just wanted to briefly showcase some of their work. This is casework of the new Dollar General before and after. Casework of a residential property on San Pablo. Is this Wildan? Correct. Casework of the 7-Eleven on 8th Street. The Arco AM/PM on Palm. The World Gym before and after. The Palm Car Wash. The Vons Shopping Center, before, after. This is the before and after. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody in the public like to make any comments? I see nobody coming forth in the public. I'll close comments. Mr. Gardner.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Newsom, first of all, you and your department have been doing a yeoman's work in the last few months. And like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to congratulate you on that. One quick question on this. This is for the total, not to exceed $300,000 for 3 years. So that's $100,000, up to $100,000 per year, correct? That's not $300,000 per year for 3 years.
No, so it's essentially $300,000 and we'll exhaust that not to exceed it a 3-year period.
Okay, so that $300,000 can be spread over 3 years, but it's not $300,000 per year for 3 years.
Correct.
That was what I wanted to get clarification on. No, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you pointed that out. That's, public looks at this and they see that number, they don't realize, they think that, so thanks for pointing that out. So you've done a lot of work on policies and getting everything put in place, and this is all still under your direction?
Correct.
Okay, because we had a problem before where they were, the entities that, were brought in as contract code were so bogged down in setting policy that residents were complaining that nothing was getting done. And so I'm good. I'm real happy to see that. And nothing like those before and after pictures to secure a vote, huh? So, who made the motion?
No one's made a motion yet because we haven't finished comments. Any other comments on this end? I just like to say it's been fantastic to see Palm Drive get in a better position. We've worked really hard to have the medians and the roads done, and then COVID took us to a different level, and we're coming out of that with the hard work that's being done in codes. Thank you for all the hard work.
Sorry. Are we making any progress on Dollar General? Will these people be able to make any progress? It's just absolutely deplorable down there. I've had a video I sent to Gerald that I wanted to play. I was tempted to play it, but do I have to play that video, or are we going to get that thing fixed?
So with respect to Dollar General, that has now escalated up to the city manager's office. I'm working on some letters that are going to be sent out, and I can go into that in more detail in our one-on-ones.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the contract code compliance officer agreement as recommended by staff.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
We had no items pulled from the consent calendar. Is there anybody in the audience that did not speak in public comments that would like to speak now? See nobody coming forth. Before we adjourn the meeting, the next regular city council meeting will be on April 4th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. The planning commission will meet on the 11th, the public safety commission on the 13th. We are adjourned.
2 hours.